Speaker of the House Mike Johnson traveled to Mar-a-Lago to hang out with Donald Trump and hold a press conference with him. One of the subjects that they discussed at this press conference was election integrity, which, do I care about election integrity? Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Whoever's asking. And do I think we should have free, fair, and secure elections? Yes. Do you know who most stands against that? The two in this camera shot, Donald Trump and Mike Johnson. And so it's ironic, to say the least, that they would be holding such a press conference when one of them participated in and one of them led and was the reason for this historic, once in a country's history, attempt to block the peaceful transfer of power and install himself as the president despite losing a free and fair election, pressuring local officials to disenfranchise millions of voters, putting together this fake elector scheme that would have done the same. So maybe these two people, to say it kindly, should not be the ones advocating on behalf of this because they're the ones attacking it. Now, let me just contextualize this a little bit before playing this first clip. And by the way, we're going to get to Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell, who nicely mocked and called out Mike Johnson and Donald Trump for their dishonest posturing here. Before getting to that, just to kind of get you in the right headspace, let's say that you accused me of stealing your coffee maker, okay? But I didn't do it, or at least there's no evidence that I did it. But because you are accusing me of that, you then say it's justified to go steal my coffee maker. So now you say your coffee maker was stolen, but you actually at least tried to steal mine. And there's evidence based on that. And so then you hold a press conference where you and the other person who tried to steal my coffee maker are talking about how we need to have better security of houses so that coffee makers don't get stolen. Now listen, I'm for not stealing coffee makers as much as the next guy, but I'm a little off-put by the fact that you wrongly accused me of stealing yours to justify stealing mine, and now you have the gall to talk about security and prevention of coffee makers being stolen? You feel me? Okay, so with that being said, as you watch this clip, just take note of how Trump looks in pain anytime he has to stand, not being the one who gets to talk. Here it is.
I'm going to announce to you today, here standing alongside President Trump, that we will do everything within our power to ensure.
I'm going to really quickly pause your viewing of this video to ask you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just click that subscribe button, plus the like button as well, and the alert bell so you get notifications. Back to it.
That we do have free and fair elections in this country. If we don't have that in a constitutional republic, we have nothing. It's the basis of who we are as a nation, and we owe that to the American people. Everybody is concerned about this. We have a job to do. Here's what you need to look for, and I'll turn it back to the president. When we put this bill on the floor, you're going to see a record vote by Republicans and Democrats. You'll see that the Republicans stand for election integrity. And then we'll be able to ask this very important question of the Democrats. They're going to have to go on record. Do you believe that Americans and Americans alone should be the ones who vote in American elections? We're about to find out their answer. And I think that will be a very interesting one for everybody.
So I know that that was such a complex and high-minded analogy, so I should probably specify for you all. Coffee makers, the election, right? So they were accusing the Democrats of trying to steal an election. No evidence of that. But then that was the justification for Trump actually trying and almost successfully stealing an election for himself by blocking the peaceful transfer of power so that the person who won the free and fair and secure election wouldn't actually become president. And so then these are two of the least qualified people to be lecturing us on election integrity, especially when the argument is premised on conspiracy theories. So it's a game that can be played where you make up a lie, then say something that's reasonable, but justified by that lie. And in so doing, sort of bolster your lie. Meaning, do we want secure elections? Yeah. So what's wrong with an election integrity press conference? Well, it's because you're premising the call to action on dishonest talking points about elections, pretending like they're not already secure, pretending like undocumented immigrants are voting, an idea that's pushed a lot by the likes of Trump and Mike Johnson. And as you get people to go, yeah, well, okay, we want secure elections, of course, so I guess nothing wrong with that. You're actually bolstering these dishonest talking points where the people, again, through lies like that and through attempts to block the electoral process based on those lies, you're actually the one assaulting our legitimate electoral process. With that being said, here's Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell responding to this as well.
I'm wondering what you made of his trip down to Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah. Spare me, Anderson. I mean, it's too rich that Donald Trump and Mike Johnson are talking to us about election integrity. That's like having to listen to a lecture by Bonnie and Clyde on bank security. I mean, it's absurd considering what they did in the 2020 election to try and overturn it. But if you want to go ahead, let's accept the argument that, non-citizens are voting. Well, it's already illegal for non-citizens to vote. And so they're going after something that, is already illegal. And by the way, it's not a thing. Like they're focusing on something that's not a thing. Something that is a thing is that Ukraine is on the ropes right now, and there's bipartisan support in the Congress to give them the aid they need. The border needs more resources is in the way of border agents as well as judges to adjudicate cases. And gun violence is the #1 killer of our children in America, and nothing's being done on that. So if Speaker Johnson had spent more time in Washington rather than, stoking an issue that's not there, perhaps we could address, those three critical, acute issues right now.
And so returning to my analogy, because I know you just can't get enough of it. Okay, so if we want to prevent coffee makers from being stolen, which, great, good. We don't want coffee makers to be stolen. That's bad. The first thing we should do is alienate and reject the lies of the people who actually tried to steal the coffee maker, right? And if we pretend like they're serious actors, serious individuals in this conversation about the prevention of coffee makers being stolen, then we legitimize their lies about me being the coffee maker stealer, which was the justification for that, actually trying to steal the coffee maker. So that's why it's so important to reject this, because they can fluff it up with a really nice title, Election Integrity Press Conference. Very necessary, right? Very good. But actually, it's just a Trojan horse for them to then spew a bunch of conspiracy theories about our election and convince people to not believe in the legitimacy of our elections without evidence, which actually serves to deteriorate the process altogether. And interestingly enough, we've talked about before Ken Block, who was a software engineer, but he was hired by Donald Trump to investigate voter fraud during that period of time before Trump left office, but after he lost the election, trying to find evidence in these key swing states to justify Trump staying in office. And obviously he couldn't do it because it doesn't exist. And now he's calling out Mike Johnson and Trump for this press conference that, again, was used to bolster these election lies.
Speaker Johnson is an attorney, and he should know better. He should understand that hearsay evidence, which is what he's talking about, does not stand up in court, and it should not ever rise to the level that it is right now, where we're impugning our election integrity and our infrastructure based on hearsay, which is what he's doing.
So in summation, yes, we want secure elections. Yes, we want election integrity. The first thing we have to do to ensure that continues, because that's what we have right now, but make sure it continues, is to reject and speak out against MAGA and its leaders. Please make sure you're subscribed to this channel.